Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, currently featuring Steam Universe, Star vs. the Force of Evil, The New Powerpuff Girls, and Samurai Jack. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Hey, y'all.
Today, Delaney and I will be giving our initial Season 3 predictions for Star vs. the Force of Evil. We are still recovering from the crushing Season 2 finale. And we've had our finale podcast. We've taken your feedback on that. You can check those podcasts out at overlyanimated.com. And now we are going to be giving you our initial Season 3 predictions. We'll have more specific ones later. I think we'll probably have a second one closer to the Season 3 premiere, which we know will be in summer. Woohoo. And I have some feedback, specific Season 3 prediction feedback to read, and we'll discuss what's happening. And to start, I also have new information from this new book that came out. But first, check us out, overlyanimated.com, and you can subscribe to us on iTunes at overlyanimated.com/iTunes, where we appreciate your star ratings, and you can also subscribe on any other podcatcher as well. So, make sure you've seen all of Star and caught up, getting into stuff. Check out our other Star podcasts for more Season 2 reactionary content. But first, I want to get into this new book that just came out this week. We're recording this on the 11th, but it'll be coming out later. And Star and Marco's Guide to Mastering Every Dimension. And I forgot I'd pre-ordered this, and it showed up in my house on the day it came out, and I was like, yay. So this is good.
Ooh, look, surprise.
Yeah, surprise. But yeah, it's like less than 10.
It's like when you find money in your coat pocket, and
yeah,
you're
exactly.
like, oh.
Yeah. It's like less than $10 on Amazon. And normally these tie-in books are kind of just nonsense. But this tie-in book is actually, first of all, it's like really well done. It's like the thing where, the characters are writing, and you see that, and like, they each have are writing in a different color, and like, they have a different, so you can tell who's writing, and they're commenting on different things. And it's basically like a mythology guide to the show, as commented on by Star and Marco and Ponyhead and other pop-ins from people.
So like Fantastic Beasts, it's kind of like the textbooks from Harry Potter that are out, and the, and then kind of like the Percy Jackson stuff.
Yeah,
Those
are
both really good ones.
Yeah, what I love about this one though is it's just our main characters talking too. Like, it's not any other nonsense from side characters. So and we get into a lot of stuff. And the most notable thing is that there's just a lot of new information here. Like, I have a giant list here of new information to talk about, because the show is a really purposefully underdeveloped mythology. The show really doesn't focus on its mythology in the actual episodes, so we have a lot of new stuff that we've only speculated on. Or
spoilers for the book, I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna read the new information. So that's true. Spoilers for the book. I will say, even though I'm gonna read all this new stuff, this is not even everything notable. I'm not even gonna get into, there's like a whole page on Tomko. There's like multiple pages on Jarko from Jackie's perspective, like that the Jarko fans are gonna be super into. Like, this isn't even the good stuff. This is just the new stuff. So, I'm
probably gonna try and find the book while I'm out. I'm on spring break, so I'm gonna try and go to Target and be like, where is this?
Yeah, hopefully major stores have it. It's very, very high quality, written by a lot of the show's writers. So, good stuff. So, okay, there's a lot of stuff, and a lot of this sounds random, but it's like going through various topics, and they're commenting on all of them. So I think the most notable thing to come out of this is new information on Toffee.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and the reason I want to say this now in this podcast is, one, this is our closest Star podcast when the book came out. Two, is because I think this relates a lot to Season 3 predictions. Oh, so another thing is that this book is clearly meant to come out right now. It comments on a lot of stuff that just happened. Not on Star leaving. So I think this is not supposed to be after Star has left, although there's Marco and Star sending letters to each other at the end, but I don't think that was supposed to be for Star having left, like, forever. That's my read on that, but I could be wrong. But yeah, they comment on the Bounce Lounge a lot. They comment on Hekapoo, and like, clearly this is meant to come out now. Potentially a reason why Disney had to air all the episodes, in very quickly, just because there's a book that would have spoiled a lot of stuff, but I would hope that they would have planned better than that, but who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah. And, but yeah, so it's also just very current and up to date. They comment on some Season 1 stuff, but there's also a lot of Season 2. So the Toffee stuff. So Toffee is labeled as Toffee of Septarcis. Septarces seem to be a species. It seems to be the species that Tavi is. Septarsis is a land, I think, and Septarses are the people from Septarsis. All Septarses can regenerate. And,
so that's what,
Rasticor.
Rasticor.
Rasticor is also labeled as a Septarsis in the book.
That makes sense.
Yes.
See, so I think that was the intention. That's why they showed it to us.
Septarian. Okay.
Yeah.
Septarian, Septarses. I don't, it's a new word. The alligator people so they come from their own world and they're their own thing and they can regenerate. That's why Tavi can regenerate. That's why Rasticor can regenerate. It doesn't tell us a whole lot more about that. Tavi's there's a wanted poster for Tavi by the High Commission. They mention a human monster accord a lot. I don't remember if the show ever got into this at all.
Well, I think they talked about it a little bit, maybe with Muni and Independence Day or whatever.
Yeah, that's the only episode that would have talked about it. Yeah. They mentioned this several times. There was a battle before the human monster accord, but that seems like something we're going to get into more. But yeah, this seems like a big thing. The Tavi being a Septarsis. Rasticor is also just a bounty hunter. He's labeled as, which I guess we knew already, but. Yeah, so this is interesting. What do you think of giving Tavi his own, the place he's from and his own species type of thing?
I think it's good, and it's kind of it makes sense, and also kind of giving this sort of, I don't know, maybe monsters, maybe that could be part of this Muni thing. The monsters maybe they're not from Muni, they're from another world, and now they're all on Muni, and more issues or whatever. And then also it's just good it's just he's an alien, and also tying more technically to Muni or whatever, but talking about it's just good to bring in more of remember there's other dimensions, y'all, that kind of thing. Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah, there's also a guide to other dimensions that we've seen, a lot of stuff. Yeah, the Tavi stuff is interesting. I think we're definitely gonna get into that. Other important stuff. So here's a big one. This is completely new. Glossaric created the other members of the Magic High Commission himself. What? He created them. That doesn't include Moon, does it? I'm assuming not.
No,
I guess not including Moon. I guess he could have created the Butterfly lineage, but yeah, this book just casually drops this in a chapter written by Glossaric. Glossaric created Lekmet, Umtraxis, Hekapoo, and all of them. He made them. He calls them his kids, kind of. Yeah.
Wow.
I was astounded by that. Yeah, I just read that today.
What? That kind of explains the interactions, maybe?
I guess so, yeah.
This is really weird, but okay.
Yeah. The original members of the High Commission were Lekmet, Omnitraxis, and Glossaric. This book clearly labels Glossaric as a member, if we were wondering about that. Moon is also a member of the High Commission. But Butterfly Queens are not innately members. You have to graduate to becoming a member if you're super good. So Moon.
That makes sense.
So Moon became a member, but was not originally a member. So he created each of the members for a purpose to represent some aspect of magic in the universe for some need. He made Hekapoo so that people could go between dimensions. Hekapoo's the only one in the universe who can create,
Is Glossaric God?
Yeah. I mean, we clearly got him labeled as the most powerful magic person, but yeah, he seems somewhat like God now. I guess if you're just the most powerful, then you can create the second most powerful, and then
yeah. If he's it's kind of did he just make them to represent, or is when he made them that's when this magic happened?
The magic predated the commission, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he says he makes them to help with magic functions in the universe. Okay. Yeah. So Hekapoo's for dimension crossing. Lekmet, he says, was made to understand the impermanence of existence.
Wow.
But he says that the contribution, that's his contribution, but what he does specifically must not be spoken of, he says. So that's interesting. That might be a secret for the show. The impermanence of existence is what Lekmet deals with.
That's deep. Okay.
Deep, yeah. Moon is on the commission for humans and magic, tied to them. She graduated into it. Omnitraxis was made to maintain the universe. which we kind of saw. Yeah. And, Romulus is Glossoric's least favorite. He says,
Shocker.
yeah. Glossoric specifically originally made Romulus and then turned his hands into thoughtful alligators in hopes of having smart hams would counteract his stupid person. That's the purpose. That's what Glossoric says he did.
But what is he for?
He says he's the muscle of the commission. So he just deals with the like.
He made him, and he was like, "Darn it!"
He made him. He's like, "Oh, this guy's too stupid. Let's give him smart hands."
Like he's like, "Darn." I mean, he's like 1 out of 4 ain't bad, but like,
yeah. That's pretty funny. I like that as justification for that weird design for Romulus. Yeah, the rest of the book seems really inconsequential in comparison to this like revolutionary chapter by Glossoric on him just making them. Yeah.
It's like, hey, Glossoric.
Yeah, all of this definitely is canon. This is definitely canon, written by a lot of the core creative for the show, like kind of crazy. Okay, so remember, we're tabling all this, and then we can include this in speculation for season 3. Something I found interesting was that there are other kingdoms in Muni besides the Butterfly Kingdom. They paint a very Adventure Time like picture of Muni. So there's the butterfly. There's also a map of Muni in it, which is great. Like you can see wherever. I mean, it's. I'll explain it. It's pretty simple. So there's the Butterfly Groundlands, which is Butterfly Kingdom plus the Johansson Kingdom from Star's dad. So they're kind of merged right now because of Moon and Star's dad. So those are separate kingdoms. The Johansson Kingdom's on one side of the Butterfly Kingdom. On the other side, there's Pigeon Kingdom. I don't remember if we've seen that in the show. But Pigeon Kingdom is there. There's the Underworld, which is Lucifer Kingdom, of which Tom is the crown prince of Lucifer Kingdom. So
they're from the same planet.
Yeah, I didn't know that. They're in the same planet. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I had no idea.
Also on the same planet is Ponyhead. The Cloud Kingdom of the Ponyheads is in the clouds.
Yes.
So that's where all the Ponyheads live. I did not know they were on Muni.
No.
Yeah.
This is so good. This makes so much sense. Like,
right.
You could have just said something.
Right, like that's and it makes Star also paints a very a picture of her and Tom as being like we're expected to be together because we're two prince and princess of two Muni kingdoms. So like in a similar way of Star's mom and dad. So that I think that makes a lot more sense now. So he's not just like Underworld of the whole universe. Like this is just Underworld of Muni. And it's also like unclear whether they're just demon powers or whether they just live like under the butterflies. That's the picture painted in the book. But yeah, the Ponyheads all live in the Cloud Kingdom. So yeah, basically the main 3 kingdoms are Underworld underneath, the butterflies on the groundland, and then the Ponyheads in the clouds.
This is great.
Yeah, that's great. And there's also the Kingdom of the Water Folk, which I think we've done something with that. And there's the Delphinidae, which is the land of the dolphins.
Is that Johnny Blowhole?
Yeah, I guess that's Johnny Blowhole's kingdom. Yeah, and Star says all the dolphins are jerks, and if you're in Delphinidae, then you have to do what dolphins say because it's law. So they're kind of these like pigeon water folk dolphins thrown in, but yeah. This is interesting. I didn't know that Muni was supposed to be Adventure Time, basically, is what this was.
There's like other things. Like this is great.
Yeah. Like this is so I've just talked for 10 minutes on the show's mythology. This is like more than the show has ever presented to us. Like
bomb after bomb. Like what?
Okay, so those
and it's so simple. It would have been one line of dialogue would have explained that Ponyhead and Tom all are from the same place.
Yeah.
Like darn it.
And it's possible, like, the people have word of godded this before, and we, like Darren has said something, but they definitely haven't said this in the show.
No, that's the thing. It's confusing, because, like, we have this thing, there's dimensions, and we have dimensional scissors. So, like, it's
you
hard
thought Ponyhead was just from a different dimension, right? Like, it's easy.
There's no other reason to think that, because, like...
They're not related at all, yeah. It's crazy. I think it's kind of charming that the show doesn't state explicitly what's going on in the mythology. I don't know.
Well, it's kind of hilarious that like it's this, and we had no idea until this book. Like, that's kind of like, it's charming in that way that it's so ridiculous. Like I love it. Like what?
I do think the show needs to outline it if we're getting into more plot things. Like you need to tell us what's happening. So maybe we'll.
I do think they will tell us about like, kind of like how the butterflies fit into the universe.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the book paints a picture of Muni being very central to the universe, but Star is writing it, so it's not clear how much that's true.
Right.
But yeah, it never is explicitly stated Muni's relation to everything, but it definitely seems like Muni's super important. So that question didn't get answered. Here's a question that did get answered. The Star's wand only channels magic. It does not itself create magic. The butterfly family does innately have magic, and that's the only reason Star can cast magic. Other people who aren't innately magic cannot cast with the wand.
That makes sense. So so that's like, what about like Ludo's wand? Right.
So I guess Ludo might be magic because he's on Muni. I don't know. Maybe other people can do it. It also explains the dip down thing from that.
Well, Ponyhead has like a sort of magic, doesn't she?
Ponyhead, I think, is magical. Yeah.
And so, like, I feel like that clearly people who are from Muni in some way, like, have, like, magic.
Yeah, so maybe any Munian can do it, but, like, Marco with the wand wouldn't be able to, I think.
No.
And so, Glosseric's dip down thing was explained as something that's his way of saying you can cast magic without the wand. If you, like, deep down into your own magical innateness enough.
So it's just very Harry Potter.
Right, that seems very Harry Potter.
Because in Harry Potter, like, you can have your wand, but like it's like the whole thing, the whole issue that happens in Deathly Hallows, where they start like taking Muggle-born's wands. So like, you can't use magic. It's like, yeah, I can. Like, you have to have magic to use a wand.
Yeah, it definitely seems very Harry Potter. So I'm glad we explained this. The cheek emblems, are Muni royal family tradition, says Star. So the one thing is, I'm not clear if it's a tradition or if it's like a biological thing.
See, okay, that's the thing. It's like, is it like a marker or is it something they're born with? But I feel like with what's her face?
Miss Haynes,
she like is taking her makeup off.
I thought she was taking concealer, right? I think that she was concealing them with makeup, and then she took.
That's what I mean. Like, she's taking makeup off, and it's there. So to me, that it's like biological.
Yeah, I originally I thought that the book was.
Granted, they might do it with magic. Like maybe they have a spell that like makes it like permanent on your face or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, because it could be a spell too. Yeah. Originally, I thought that the book was saying that it was biological, but I read it again, and it's a little ambiguous. Either way, they definitely like lampshade the Miss Haynes thing. They're like, but Marco's like, but Miss Haynes has these. It's like, ooh, mystery. So this is clearly something the show will be addressing. Definitely seems like Miss Haynes' former Muni royal family.
Yes.
So interesting. Okay, here's other random stuff. I know you've been waiting for the Sensei fact.
Oh God.
Sensei's name is Brantley.
Wow.
Brantley, that's his name.
Brantley.
There you go. New information. Star used to prank Ludo's family when they lived in the castle in the forest that was mentioned in the finale. She used to take some animal droppings and leave them on her doorstep. I thought this was notable because Star and Ludo had previous interactions to the show.
So this kind of makes sense. Like, you can kind of think, well, I mean, if you think about it, technically, Star and Ludo might be around the same age.
Yeah, that's not clear how old Ludo is. Yeah, true. Yeah.
And like, so, I mean, I think that makes a lot more sense as to why like Ludo is doing anything. Like, if Ludo's like the punk that he is, and then like, you have this annoying like princess doing things to your house, that makes sense.
Yeah, there was like a one-line thing, but I think that provided interesting backstory.
I really won't be shocked if maybe we get kind of a backstory of like Ludo and Star, like at some point, like before like Ludo kind of come after the magic, like maybe they like played together or like they were forced to go to things together, like oh, we have to like go to dinner with the Avariuses, and Star's like like something like that.
They call Prince Ludo of Castle Avarius. So yeah, I agree that these are the Avarius. Like, I don't think that has been explicitly stated, but I think that Ludo, or maybe they say that in the finale. Ludo's family of the Avarius.
So did you say what title did you give him? Did you say he's a prince?
He said he was a prince in the book. Yep, Prince Ludo of Castle Avarius.
Which interesting is because they call in the episode, like when we like meet Ludo's family, Moon says Lord and Lady Avarius. So like,
yeah,
you really like
that's what they say. Yeah. So
I'm like that nerd, and I used to like study a lot of like what the titles meant, and I'm pretty sure you can't be a prince and be the son of a lord. So I think that means they lost status at some point, perhaps when they were kicked out of the castle. Or something. Potentially,
yeah. The thing is that there's no kingdom of Avarius on the map. That's the thing. So I'm a little unclear.
That's why they're like they could be a lord and lady just in their kingdom, but it's interesting that he's a prince. Like that doesn't make a lot of sense. Granted, it's also like they could just be making stuff up. Like it doesn't matter.
Both the Forest of Uncertain whatever and Castle of Avarius are all under the Butterfly Kingdom domain. The book says. So I think that that's interesting. But yeah, Prince Ludo, and in the book like they're like, Ludo's a prince? What? Like, so clearly supposed to be new information. I think that's really interesting. I don't even know what's going on with that, but I think we have enough information there. I don't know. The finale.
I really like finally, because me the whole time I was just like, why is Ludo relevant?
Why is he? It's just some random dude, right? Yeah.
Just actor star. Why? Like this, I really appreciate this because it's kind of like in Kim Possible. They finally explained Dr. Draken's backstory and how he was like bullied by Kim's parents, like Kim's dad or whatever. Like they were all friends in like college and they all made fun of him, and like that's how Dr. Draken became like a villain. So like I like things like that. Like give us a little bit of a background.
Yeah, and I'd love a Ludo Star. You mentioned this for a Ludo Star backstory episode. Any Star flashback episode when she's like 8 or something would be great. Like I'm surprised the show hasn't done that yet. That'd be interesting. I guess because there's no Marco and no Earth stuff, but when you do that, but I don't know. Not new information, but the show has created a Twitter and SoundCloud for Oscar.
Oh God.
Go to Oscar Kestra, Khestra. I don't know if that's supposed to be his name or his band name. But there's a Twitter and, there's music created by Oscar on a SoundCloud. Yeah, it's interesting. You can check that out. We don't need to discuss that. Marco's mom, Angie, teaches poetry at Echo Creek Community College, and his dad, Raphael, is an artist. I don't know if we knew that.
I love this.
And he was born in Mexico, Raphael. So,
this is good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, so that, I like that. There's sections on both of the parents. Okay. Ponyhead's original name.
Oh no.
Is Lilacia. Or potentially Lilica.
This is good stuff.
Lilacia. She doesn't go by that name anymore though, so she's Ponyhead. Because she's the crown princess.
Yes.
The Ponyhead lineage is patriarchal, unlike the butterfly lineage, which is matriarchal, but the Ponyhead current royal family has 13 daughters, so Ponyhead's the oldest, so she's the
That's good.
So she's the crown princess. We get profiles for each of Ponyhead's siblings.
That's so good.
None of them are worth going over, but they have character design, so I'm going to assume they're going to be on the show because these are like explicit.
That's excellent.
Yeah, but they all seem really great. And yeah, Ponyhead has 12 sisters, so there you go.
This is good stuff.
So that's it. There's ours.
I love that. I always love that whole like, oh, we don't have a prince and there's like a bajillion daughters. That's my fave. Yeah,
that's really good. They also multiple times in the book say, don't bring up legs around Ponyhead or Ponyheads. So okay, so we're already 25 minutes in and we covered it all. Okay, yeah, that was my morning, was making sure I caught up on this book. But yeah, definitely
that is so good.
There's a lot of stuff here, and what seems most relevant to you of all of this stuff for season 3?
Well, I guess it's more of like the setup of the kingdoms and like how Muni is, and then
we're going back to Muni, yeah.
Yeah, and the potential for, like, Ludo, like, what is the relationship between the Avariuses and, like, the butterflies?
Yeah.
And then also Glossaric being God or whatever he is.
Yeah, I don't think that's, like, actually super relevant at the moment, but yeah, that's definitely the biggest thing. And, yeah, I think I'm trying to, like, figure out which stuff is going to be immediately addressed. I think the Toffee stuff is, like, the biggest immediate stuff.
Well, yeah.
but the butterfly kingdoms and potentially the Ponyhead sisters, just because they have designs, so they might be there. But yeah, and we get the confirmation that Heinous is probably Muni royal family. There's a lot at play. I don't know if any of this is immediate stuff, but it's like, where are Moon and Star going to go now that they're going back to Muni? Like, are we going to go to one of these other kingdoms and hide there as opposed to just going back to the castle? Yeah.
Like, he'd be kind of one of those, like, funny things where they're like, okay, so they go to, like, where Tom lives. Tom's super irritating, so they leave. And they go, like, to the Ponyheads, like, we can't do this, bye. And then, like, that kind of thing, that'd be funny.
Yeah. I had some general topics to talk about it. Let's get into the speculation. We're already talking about it, but I'm just going to start reading some of these comments, and then we'll use this to segue into larger discussions. The first one I have is not feedback for us. It was I took this from CO. Just in a Star discussion thread is one of the first things I saw right after the finale. Someone said, Marco will use his dimensional scissors to follow Star, except that he doesn't actually know where Star is, other than Muni. He'll go to the palace first because, that's her home, but since it's such a blatantly obvious place for Star to be, Moon will have taken her somewhere else in order to make it harder for Tavi to find her. Thus, season 3 will start out with episodes of Marco searching for Star and episodes of Star being trained by Moon and Baby to prepare for Tavi. No idea how long that would last, but it'll probably be how the season will start. What do you think of that?
Well, I definitely think, like, Marco's going with the scissors. Like, I said that, like, at the finale. It was like, that makes the most sense because he has the scissors. And that episode was such a big deal that he now has his own scissors. I do think, hopefully there's not a lot of them, we do have episodes where they're separated. We have episodes of them, like, there's, like, parallels and we do see them both in the episode, but they're not together, but it's kind of, or, like, they're trying to contact each other. And, like, you know, maybe Marco is alone and he's trying to find Star. And then we also have Star, like, she wants to get in contact with Marco and then kind of, like, I don't know, like, parallels that way. The Moon training Star, I think, is the most interesting thing that hadn't occurred to me. That makes a lot of sense. It'd be really cool. Also, I mean, I'm all about Baby coming back because I love that character. That's a quality character. I think that'd be really neat. I don't know how much, like... right now I don't see how Moon would be wanting to, like, I don't know about the purpose of training her to defeat Toffee would be, because, like, they're like, we have to get away. So I don't know. I think that might be something that comes later. Yeah. Like, where she, like, you know, imparts some great secret onto Star, or, like, you know, something that really, like, you know, kind of, like, pushes her forward. Not necessarily like it's something like big, like, oh, suddenly Star's all powerful, but kind of like, I don't know, drop some info on Star.
Yeah. I definitely think Baby's not coming back. I think that was a one episode character, but sad. It's sad, but the show's done that before, though. They've kind of brought back. Anyway, I have a hard time envisioning this show doing such a frenetic pace like described in this comment. I really like this concept of Marco just looking for Star, and we see where Star is. We kind of don't know where she is, and we see Marco going different dimensions. Like, how the show just is, the episodes don't directly relate to each other. Usually it's kind of like laid back. This seems so frenetic,
granted, we've also gotten to this point though. We've never been in a position like this.
That's true. This is the biggest plot thing that's happened. And they're probably using this as a means of changing the type of structure of the show. It still just seems really hard to envision.
Granted, I mean, it could be something more like we have an episode where Marco's at school and it's just kind of like the saddest episode ever, like Marco just being really sad at school or whatever, and like people are like, where's Star? Because I think that everyone losing their memory is terrible, and I don't want that to happen, and I don't want to talk about it ever again. And like that kind of thing, like where's Star? Talking about Star, like maybe they have like a really weird kind of like, maybe they have like a counseling thing, like, oh, if you like, you know, since Star left, that kind of thing, like counseling, and like you get to see your favorite dude,
Mr. Kendall, yeah.
And then that kind of thing. And then we have like an episode, or like at the end of the episode, we see Star where she is. That kind of thing. Like, kind of like, I imagine it more of kind of like in Avatar when like Appa's gone. Like, that kind of like, we're searching for Appa, but then like other things are happening.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I feel like it's kind of something more like that. Like, you know, Appa goes like Appa's like taken, and then like you have things like Appa, like you see what's happening to Appa, and then you have like everyone looking for Appa, then like there's other things that are going on, and like but you still see like what's going on with Appa. So I feel like stuff like that maybe.
Yeah. It also just seems too sad for the show. I know I know the end of the show was sad, but I have to imagine, and it's hard for me to imagine the status quo of the end of the season lasting too long, just because of how plotty and sad it is. Like, which is not neither of those things are what Star is. So.
Which, and I do think, I mean, I feel like Marco might find Star, like, because Marco could also, maybe Marco's first thing is to go to Tom, and Tom could help Marco more.
Yeah. That could be. It's the Tom Marco team up that
or like he gets Ponyhead, like he goes to somebody and they like help him.
Yes, I think Marco should assemble the bounce crew to help him. I agree.
Basically.
There's a lot of I don't know. It's tough. Like, what's the show gonna? It's hard to say what the show's gonna do because it's just anything would be so different from what it's doing now. I guess okay. Let me in general say
we literally have not had something happen in the plot that will fundamentally impact, like, we've had things happen, but like, you know, Star losing the book doesn't necessarily mean we can't have episodes where things are happening. But Star being gone is like completely, like, them being separated it's not, I mean, I'm going to say this and it's going to sound bad. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just what's happening. It's destroying the fabric of what the show is. Like, these are how episodes are structured. This is what episodes are. Like, even when we have things where Star and Marco are separated in the show, like, we still see both of them. They're both in the same place. They can still be together. You know, it's like when Marco has his own adventures or whatever. Yeah. But in this case, and everything's related, like, it's all Star in relation to Marco, Marco in relation to Star. But now we have, like, literally they're gone, and we have to address this and, like, deal with it, like, in every episode. Which is something that the show's never had to do before. It's kind of like if something like this happened in Miraculous Ladybug, I'd be like, I don't even know what's going to go on. Like, I have no idea. Like...
It's changing. Like when Star loses the book, you can still have normal episodes because, okay, the book's just gone. Star's gone though, so the show can't be the same. Like, we can't just say it's going to maintain the structure. Something has to change here. There's no way for it to do what it was doing before right now. Star could come back and we could just revert, but, as things stand, yeah, it's a good point that needs to be brought up. Like, things are changing. And so I've said before that I'm, like, worried about what the show's going to do. And I think here's the most simple way, like, I want to state this, is that I think that Star kind of, as a show, found its footing, in the second half of season 2. I thought it was really good. I thought that there were a lot of really good episodes. And I'm really worried about just changing fundamentally what the show is after it just got, like, consistently really good. Kind of at its core, that's kind of, like, why I'm worried about what they're going to do with season 3.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm worried in that, like, what happened with Ruby, but I trust this show better than I trust Ruby because I've been disenchanted with Ruby much longer than I've been disenchanted with Star, which is like 0 in comparison to 65. But like, I understand the worry, and it's, you know, in separating your main characters, and like a show like Star, like, we're at this turning point, like. And shows like Star, like when you have a children's show, like, you know, an animation show that's on, like, it's predominantly a children's network or like whatever, and it's like Disney or Cartoon Network or whatever it is, and you have like this kind of like adventure timey, goofy nonsense, and you're like, oh, it's cool, it's fun, there's plot occasionally, and it's fine. And then you start actually having plot, and then it gets kind of iffy because it's either going to be really good or it's going to go bad real quick. And I think the way we've transitioned to this point has gone really well. Like, the plot stuff makes sense. Like, it doesn't feel like off to me. Like, it feels like it's felt very organic and like a natural growth. So I'm not that worried. And like, I don't think they're going to be separated for that long, or at least in this case, the separation makes sense. Like, they've given us a framing and a vehicle. And like, we have this, like, Marco is going to use the scissors. He has to. Like, there's literally like no reason for him not to use the scissors. And he like chased after Star immediately. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if we get thrown into the first episode and Marco is like already in another dimension looking for Star. Like, that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, granted, I do think the idea of having an episode where we're not breathing or taking a break is kind of startling to think about. Because like, normally, you know, we're not usually thrown into the action in this show. But I do think the pacing will change, and we're not going to have like the fun, like, chill school episodes, but I do think this will be like a positive thing. It's just hard to imagine. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. It's like with Miraculous Ladybug. It's like, I have no idea what's going to happen to that show. Like, they're like, oh, it's going to change soon. I'm like, to what? Like, it's just like, formulaic nonsense. I don't know.
Yeah. The thing with Ladybug is it changing is like great because I'm sick of its current structure.
Yes.
With Star, I think the show's great right now. So
Right.
it's like, I'm generally humans, if they have something good, do not like to deviate from that. So that's kind of, I guess, my feeling on this. Like we've something good going now. Why are we shaking things
We'll just
up?
have to see.
But I'm definitely game to see what's gonna happen. I am just worried though. This will be a recurring topic we'll get into. Here's from patron Katrin. Katrin says, so one thing the season has done is set up a lot of good foreshadowing for what could happen next season. I feel like there's a lot to go off with theories. A lot of what I noticed has to do with Marco. Obviously, we all know he's a pair of dimensional scissors. He also has a pretty good working knowledge of other dimensions. Remember, he spent 15 years in Hecapoo's, and I kind of hope/wonder if they're going to deal with the fact that except for his strength is leveled up by knowledge maturity. He also has a friggin' dragon motorcycle, and I hope it comes back that he uses her to get Star. Yeah, what do you think about Nachos coming into
yes,
play?
please, 125%. And I didn't think about that. That's the other thing. Like, Marco, like even though he's back to, like, you know, his dorky 14-year-old self, like, he's still lived all of that, and like I think that knowledge will come in handy. And I still think that he went through multiple dimensions. I don't think it's necessarily just like wherever Hecapoo is.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if we reference Marco spending 14 years, like 15 or whatever again. Like I think Nachos could come into play. Just, you know, if you bring up Marco being technically like 30, then we get into all sorts of other stuff. So I don't know if we want to get there.
Well, I think it'll be more like just this, like, he knows things now.
Yeah, it could do that. It could be like this knowledge I've gained from that. Yeah,
which that would be interesting, and I think that'd be a really good. I think that'd be the best way to handle still talking about what happened in Running with Scissors.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, if we're gonna, this is the time to address that episode. If we're going to, I agree. Back to the Katrin's comments. Even though I do hate the idea of separating Star and Marco, I'd love to see season 3 BA. We are both on separate journeys, culminating into the same journey. If done right, I feel like Star and Marco's growing as characters and coming together would probably be more interesting than them meeting up quickly in season 3. Since it's pretty obvious Star goes endgame, and I don't want to see pining Star for 2 more seasons, because let's be real, it's unlikely they'll get them together at the beginning of season 3. That's boring, and that's what killed New Girl, in my opinion. I don't know, but I know about that show. But also, we know Eclipsa is frozen, and in that diamond stuff, and she's definitely coming back. Yeah. So this, I guess we do need to shake things up now. I think Katrin could be onto something here.
No, I think the separate journey thing, like, I think that's going to be really important, especially since, like, Star is in one place and Mark, like, okay, other than, like, literally physically, like, honestly, like, I mean, we've seen Star mature so much, and Marco's been kind of stagnant. Like, we haven't seen, like, other than Running with Scissors, where we kind of see, like, his actual journey he goes on. Like, I think, like, more, like, let's just launch them. We're going to send them both into, like, a super character development tube, and they're going to, like, intersect at some point, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of separate journeys. That could be, I mean, I guess in theory I like the idea. I do still think the strongest element of the show is Star and Marco interacting, right. So I think eliminating your strongest element is not a good idea. I think it's interesting that this Star leaving is precipitated by this state where Star is at with regards to Marco, the pining Star, as Katrin says. Like, I agree. That's not really, we've kind of told all the story we need to tell with that. So maybe you need to do something to shake that up. And if you're not getting them together, then doing something drastic. I think that could be where they started in this, like, okay, what are we going to do? We're going to separate them. Like, I think that this could be the reason why they're doing that type of thing.
Yeah, which, I mean, it makes sense. And also, we have to get Marco to that point of, like, because, I mean, we still have to do things with Marco to get to, like, if Star goes in-game, like, if Marco being like, yeah, I'm in love with Star or whatever, we still have to get there.
Yeah, and the best way to do that's probably by showing him how much he cares about her by taking her away. Right. Like, that's, yeah. I think all of that makes sense. I think this is a natural progression for where you're going with Star and Marco, and it's the problem is what is there to do after they're back together? Right. Like, where's the new stopping point before they're romantically together? So, because they're not gonna like just be going out. So how are we getting them back in the same place and then having them be stable, basically?
Well, I just think, like, honestly, I think part of the reason why you're so worried and, like, why I'm really excited about this, I mean, I know you're excited too, like, it's different, like, you know, you just have more worry than I do. And I'm like, I was just rapidly thinking about all the shows that like we've both watched and like we've covered before, talking about like Korra and Avatar and like these. I can't think of a series like this that is doing like and has done well, is doing this and will potentially do it successfully. Like I can't think of really an instance like other than like the time jump in Korra, but we don't really see a lot of like what happened in between. So this idea of like we're going to send these characters and we're going to watch this journey happen over some sort of period of time and they're going to meet back up and like what that's going to do for their characters. Like I can't think of a series that's done that before. Like usually it's a time
like shaking the show up so much within like directly in the timeline.
Which it's scary, but we're going to see it. I'm really excited about that. Like,
yeah, I agree.
It's really great and amazing.
There's a lot of possibilities here. I don't think that a time jump's out of the question. Let me say
I'm
that.
not like no. There could be like I could see there being a time jump. I'm just like I do think we're going to see more of the in between than we saw in Korra and that kind of thing. Like the really easy thing to do is do a time jump, but in this case, I think actually we're going to see a lot more of it than we would normally.
Yeah, I agree. That is exciting to like see what we would have jumped over in other shows. I think that's like no other show really just shakes things up so much and then has to deal with it.
Well, it's like even like in Korra, we go from book 3 and like just like we just like brought Korra like so low and like we could see the beginning development of the relationship with Asami, and then we had the time skip and like we get a few like rare comments that relate back to like what had happened. But we don't see it a lot. And so in this case, it's really exciting to like, we're going to get to see a lot of that. Like seeing actually that journey is going to be really great.
Yeah, it's a little unprecedented for this type of show. And I am skeptical that considering how unprecedented it is, I'm skeptical that we're going to see it. But, maybe we might. I mean, like it seems like we will. Like,
right. I mean, it doesn't really seem to make sense, especially with the impending threat of Toffee. It doesn't make a lot of sense to do an immediate time jump.
Yeah, they've structured it in a way in which jumping doesn't make a ton of sense.
And it's urgent, and it's very urgent.
Yeah. So I'm very interested to see where we end up here. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll keep coming back to this. Here's a comment from Polymath. I honestly do not know what to expect of season 3. I'm sure that you have already heard things on Tumblr mentioning Marco Still's dimensional scissors. However, I do not expect him to go after her so soon. I expect that there will be some quiet downtime with him, Jackie, and Jana discussing what to do now. I imagine that we may have a few episodes without Star entirely, just the Earth crew trying to think. I expect Star's parents will put her on lockdown. Star will be yearning and trying to contact Marco, but they'll prevent her by warning her not to, and or even shutting out dimensional portals. Perhaps the entire family will be shut in because of the crowd's reaction and Face the Music. I hope we do not get too much attention on Toffee so soon. I want more build up, perhaps some occasional surprise revelations or appearances where Toffee is there to tease and terrify the butterflies. So I think this is more the baseline. I think it's natural to jump to like Marco immediately going after, and that like makes more sense in my mind. But in terms of preserving any semblance of what the show is, I think this is more likely. This type of like Marco regrouping on Earth type of thing.
Well, it also makes sense to like, so like we have in the finale, we have this sudden like emotional punch to the face. And then like to have like more downtime of kind of dealing with what this means. Like, because we do need, I kind of like, I think that'll be a good thing if we have like the slow down time of dealing with what the absence of Star on Earth means. Like, that kind of thing. And so like, that would be fine. I think an episode or two, that'd be great. And I do expect to have episodes that don't have Star or Marco in them. Like, not necessarily both, but I'm not going to be shocked to have a full episode or multiple episodes in a row where it's all Marco, we don't see Star, or it's all Star and we don't see Marco. Like, I think we have to expect that. And it makes sense. I like the idea of, I don't think they're gonna be in the castle, but I do like the idea of like, I really also don't want to see Toffee a lot because I'm still kind of like off put by like the sudden all powerful murder Toffee like beams. But, I do like the idea of like, kind of like in, Deathly Hallows of Harry Potter where you have these, like, they're on the run, but then you also have these mentions of, like, what Voldemort is doing, like, and how it's impacting them on the run. Like, that kind of thing would be interesting with the butterflies and, like, having, like, Toffee's close, but he's not close enough. Like, what is Toffee doing? And, like, what is Toffee's, like, that kind of thing. That would be really interesting. And that would be a good way to do it. But I don't think they're going to be in the castle. But I do think this teasing and tormenting is, like, that would be really interesting. It would give us more insight into what's really going on.
Yeah. This is my expectation, is basically everything Polymath says. I also agree they potentially might not be in the castle, but it's more just the point of them, things being stable in some form of, Marco on Earth and then Star somewhere else. I think this is the most likely scenario, is we just see Marco doing things on Earth, preparing to track down Star, and we see Star elsewhere, doing whatever. My biggest worry is that we just don't see Star, like mentioned here. Like, Star is just kind of written off the show as an emotional, emotional stakes, for a few episodes. This is also like why I'm worried the most. I'm most excited for Marco going after Star. I'm most worried in that we're just going to see more Earth stuff focused on Marco without any Star involvement, and we just have multiple episodes of no Marco and Star interactions. Like, I think this is what they shouldn't do, more than like an episode or two.
Well, I mean, I'm fine with no interactions. It makes sense. And, like, I'm expecting that, and I'm fine with that. I do think we're going to see both of them, though I do expect at least 2 episodes where we don't see Star at all, because that makes sense, and doing that makes sense. Like, that's fine narratively and, like, emotionally.
I think I agree it makes sense. I just can't imagine those episodes being particularly good.
Well, I do think Marco can hold an episode when Sensei is not involved, so I'm fine with that. We'll just have to see. The thing is, I really do think we're in kind of an uncharted waters. Like, we're not in the same position Ruby was in, and where Ruby just completely, like, flubbed it all up. But here, like, we're just gonna have to see. And I'm fine with it. I'm excited. I'm more excited than I'm worried. I'm actually not really that worried at all, because I'm very happy with the direction the show is going. And to me, the strength of the episode of this show is Marco and Star. But, like, I'm really excited to get away from the dumb Earth episodes, because, like, there's dumb, and, like, I don't like the school, and, like, a lot of those episodes to me were very weak. Like, having Jana and Jackie and Marco talking, that's fine. And, like, I do think we're going to be dealing with that more. And maybe an episode of Marco at school and, like, everyone dealing with Star being gone, that's fine. Like, maybe in a better vein that weird episode with, like, the war with the...
Yeah. With the possums, or whatever. I think that getting away from some of the school stuff recently hasn't been great. Yeah, so getting away from that, the prospects of that are exciting. The best proof from Marco holding an episode, I think, is Running with Scissors. Yeah. I'd argue that we haven't had any Marco Earth episodes that were particularly great, but he is capable of, when he's crossing dimensions, at least of having a good episode revolving around him. I'd like to get away from school stuff. I like the school characters, but it's more just when we force, like, an episode there, like, too much on, like, let's take Jana away and do other stuff. So it's, I don't know. It does make sense to do the Marco on Earth thing. We'll see. Here's
I don't think it's going to be stagnant for very long, though. And I don't think it'll be stagnant when it's technically, like, them just on Earth. Like, I do think there will be some interesting things happening, especially we have to also have to deal with, like, Marco's parents and, like, kind of dealing with, like, what they do and do not know, and, like, how that's going to be interesting.
You're concerned about the Diaz's?
Like. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. My biggest concern would be not showing Star for a while, so I definitely hope we check in with.
I do think we will, and I don't think it will be to the extent that Ruby just wrote Ruby out of the show.
Yeah,
so.
No, I don't think they'll do that. In fact, I think that's it's more likely that Star is more of a main focus the first 2 episodes than Marco even. Like, I think that
we can start with them just on the run.
Yeah, it's definitely easy to go to just we'll check in on Marco because we're left with his perspective, but the show's never really stayed away from Star for too long, so I would be surprised.
Right.
Andy says, patron Andy, the first season ended in a somewhat similar way as the second season. Crazy stuff happened. The status quo should have been changed, but it didn't. My biggest hope for season 3 at this point is that it isn't season 2 because I'm worried they'll go right back to the status quo of weird Star episodes and running around with Marco without any real consequences. I also hope that we're done with Ludo being a major character. He peaked. It wasn't an enormous peak either. In episodes where he learned magic, Toffee can do his thing through Ludo, and I'm fine with that. I really want Star to confront her parents and have an actual talk with her mom. It became very clear in the last few episodes that Moon is a much different person than Star's perspective has shown us. She has different flaws and strengths than I expected. Lastly, we meet an episode in Echo Creek without Star. The B plot can be with Star, but I want to see Marco coping on screen, not just talked about. A lot of similar stuff here. I I'm worried that we're about consequences. I think the show's done just fine without consequences, really, like lately. So I think if we're going to change the show up, I think that's interesting. But consequences doesn't have to mean sidelining your main character or keeping your main duo apart.
Which I don't think that's going to be the case. Like, they're aware. I mean, that's why they're still tormenting us about Starco. Like, they know.
They're very aware that this is the main, like, that's why I have confidence in this being handled right. The show clearly knows that Star and Marco are the best elements of the show. So I can't imagine that this would be too long of a separation.
Right.
Or that they would just have episodes without Star. Like, when have they ever done that? Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Like, I think, like, it'll be fine.
I do say it is really appealing to have an episode of Marco dealing with, like, what this means emotionally to him to not have Star around. I definitely do want to see that.
Like, that would be really good. Like, and, you know, kind of an episode where, like, Marco's going about his day the way he would normally, and then kind of, like, the obvious, like, glaring absence of Star.
Yeah.
Like, him brushing his teeth.
Yeah, it would be that would be brutal. But yeah, he sees the singing toothbrushes. Yeah,
yeah, like that kind of stuff. Like, that would be a really good episode, like something like that. Yeah, and I mean, we're heading towards a Moon talk. Like, I've been ready for this since like the middle of season 1.
Yeah, Star and Moon need to talk. That's definitely happening. Yeah, I think how emotionally devastating will the first few episodes of the season be?
Yeah, I think on a scale of 1 to 10, probably at least an 8.
What was the season finale on that scale?
Like an 11. But well, the thing is, like, I do disagree though about I definitely don't think we're gonna go to, like, we literally cannot go to a point where there aren't consequences. So I don't think that's really a concern. Like, we literally cannot, like.
The season finale broke that pattern.
They completely broke it. Like, we literally cannot, which is really exciting. I mean, it's kind of scary, but it's exciting. Like, I'm excited for more consequences. There should be a balance. I do think we're hitting the right, like, place between, like, there being consequences for what's going on, but then it's not also, like, just ridiculous. So, like, it's a good thing. And I really feel like we're finally feeling the consequences from season 1. And that's really what's really interesting about it. Like, oh, we're finally seeing that the show does have an order, and it does make sense.
Yeah, I'm definitely if the show gets to a point where there's no episodes like All Belts Are Off and Collateral Damage, and no episodes like the Weird Al one, like, then we're going to be in a much better place. So
same, exact. Thank you. Like, that's the thing. I was like, yes, I like the show because it's weird, but, like, there are a lot of episodes in season 1 that it's kind of like, and, like, even in season 2, there's several episodes in season 2 that aren't the best. And, like, if we get to a point, like, we can have plot, and the show can still be its goofy, fun, Lisa Frank-esque nonsense that it is, but still also have, like, plot and meaning, and not have, like, you know, like, when Steven Universe finally gets to a point where it doesn't have annoying Bordy episodes, that'll be great.
Right. I'm not at all convinced that the show will ever get to the point that it doesn't have these type of episodes. And the reason is because what show is this striving to be like? What's the, like, epitome of quality right now for animated TV? It's Steven Universe, and Steven Universe isn't past this point. Right. Rick and Morty isn't past this point. Rick and Morty had these show me what you got, right? Like, it's none of these shows are, there's not one animated show that's capable of not having a nonsense episode. And, like, it's not that it's, you can have nonsense in a nonsense episode. Like, I do see the potential for the show doing that. It could just have all that, like, Math Magic, I think is a great, like, plot episode that has nonsense in it type of thing.
To me, Star is the most equipped to be this show.
Yeah, I think it's in a better position right now to get there than anything else, just because it's changing and it's showing a lot of potential and it's still early.
Yeah.
So I agree. It could get there.
It's like, technically, I do think Star, in comparison to where Steven Universe was in this kind of similar position, I think Star is better off than Steven Universe was when it was at this point. Like, in its development. Steven Universe has been on a little bit longer, I think, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, where Steven Universe is in its hundreds of episodes,
right? So that's what. So I'm talking. Like, I do think I mean, we're at this many episodes. I think Star is in a lot better place than Steven was at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the if you line up the points... I'm
not talking about, like, individual episodes. Yeah, I mean, overall.
If you line up the points on the trajectory, I think we're clearly into season 2-3 of Steven with the... Star could get there more than any of these other shows could. I really don't think it will. It's not the specific show. I just like can't imagine that. It's like it airs on Disney XD. Is this really the vehicle for us getting this type of show? I kind of doubt it.
Yeah.
I mean, I see the potential. Like the people that work on the show are brilliant. Like this book, like is brilliant. Like we could get there. But the thing is, even if we don't, it's still going to be good. Like that was the second half of season 2 is not getting to that place that we're talking about, and it was still really great. So
right. It just the thing is, like, unlike shows, like it's just I don't know. Like I mean, literally, Korra got taken off like TV, like literally, and where it reached the heights that it reached.
Korra is the example of the show that got past this. Books 3 and 4 of Korra don't have this type of episode.
Like, Korra, like, and even Avatar still had some of its like nonsense episodes, but even in the nonsense episodes, there was like stuff.
Yeah, once you get past the first half of season 1, Avatar's nonsense episodes are all quality. Yeah,
right. So like it's just like it's like there is potential. It's been done. It can be done, and Star has the perfect like mythology and world built to be this show.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
I feel like it's just kind of like they feel so restrained by like their genre, like the fact that they're like children's animation, and it's like, no, you can break free, be free.
Yeah, I agree. All these shows are kind of stuck in that. Yeah, and this is a very overly animated topic and something that could be.
And this is literally the trend. Like this is the trend in animation. Like that's the thing. Like I didn't want to watch Steven Universe at first because it looked dumb. I still don't watch Adventure Time because I think that show is dumb. And I'm sorry to all you Adventure Time fans. I'm glad you liked the show.
Adventure Time's in a similar reign of the nonsense episodes. It's a little bit more slated towards nonsense.
And it's one of those things, and you watch it, and then you're like, yes, but then it's like, and then we have this trend. All of them, basically all the shows that we cover, and like the major animated series that are like really popular and all that, like they're all like this.
Yeah, for the record, I also think Gravity Falls did not break this mold.
Yes, I agree.
I've noticed a giant overlap between Star fans and Gravity Falls fans, which makes sense because they're the same show. Yeah. They're the same show, but I don't think Gravity Falls ever got to this point that it was like an Avatar or Korra. I mean, I think it was like Gravity Falls shows the heights you can get to while still in this children's TV mold. Like it was so good at times, but we have it's a lot of task for Star to get to any sort of. Yes. We're just talking about Star being like a actually great show as opposed to just like a show with potential. So, making the jump right away would be a lot. But yeah, certainly it's very exciting with this season break, and whatever they do, I mean, we're on board. I'm healthily skeptical, but still very excited to see what's gonna happen.
It's like I love Star. I love the characters. I never really thought I was going to really love like this genre for one, and then also like the like Star like itself, and it's just like I've been blown away, so I'm excited to see more.
Yeah, and from a personal perspective, I care less about Star being this truly critical, great, transcendent show than I do of just seeing what happens with Star and Marco. Like I care more about them at this point than I do, which is like very good. Like that's a very good.
Well, it's like that's how I feel, because the thing is, like, after Korra ended, it was like, what am I supposed to do with my life?
Yes, yeah.
And like, and I know everyone's like, why do they talk about Korra all the time? It's like, go watch Korra and you'll understand. But like, so like to me, to have shows like Steven Universe and Star, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm actually like, even though I love Steven and like Garnet is like everything about Steven Universe appeals to me greatly, and I love that show, I'm 2 episodes behind right now, actually, which is kind of like terrible.
Yeah, more emotionally invested in Star. Yeah,
I'm like a lot more emotionally invested in Star currently than I am in Steven Universe. Granted, I do love Steven Universe, but it's just one of those things. Like,
it's, for the record, it's still a better show, but
yes, it's definitely 125%. Steven Universe is still a better show than Star.
Yeah, like, but we could, and Stevens just has its whole thing with how the Cartoon Network airs episodes, and it's so that's a whole nother issue. But last night's episode was very good, by the way.
I'm gonna watch them tonight. I just haven't. I got home last night, and then I was away like last week, so like I just haven't been able to.
Steven is priority one. This is so I don't know. Les, I wanted to get into Toffee more, Eclipsa, but I don't know. I have no specific thoughts on that. I don't think these things will be immediately addressed. I'm more interested in.
And there's not really anything to talk about. It's just like throwing darts at a dartboard in the park. So like,
yeah, I mean, we have info now on Toffee, but just including the his species name in the book makes you think that they're going to address it soon. So I hope that
where that planet is, that kind of thing. Planet, dimension, whatever.
Yeah, but I don't need to see Toffee on screen for a few episodes. Yeah. That's less pressing. Right. I know it precipitated the events, but the events are more important than what precipitated them, basically.
Also, it just happened so quickly. We need a break.
Yeah, we do. And not too long until season 3. We don't have a specific day, but potentially, one of these summer months. And Game of Thrones announced for middle of July. What will I be more excited for? Star season 3 or the next Game of Thrones season? Answer Star. Yeah. So there.
And the Wonder Woman movie is coming out June 2nd, and my soul is going to leave my body, but it'll come back down for Star occasionally.
Occasionally, yeah. Star comparison to Wonder Woman podcast.
Naturally.
Yeah. Okay. Final thoughts, Delaney.
I'm excited for Star. There's a lot of fun stuff. I'm going to go buy this book whenever I get out of my house.
Yeah, sorry for spoilers, but
it's okay. No, Dylan and I usually don't care about the same things. Thematically.
Yeah, no, you usually care about the merch, and I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to go get this book because I'm going to find things. I'm like, Dylan, you didn't talk about this, and
no, there's a lot of stuff I didn't talk about.
No, I'm excited. I'm going to go get this book. Actually, this is shocking. Like, Dylan got the merch before I did. So what?
Yeah, that never happens. Yeah.
So weird.
Glad it worked out for the one relevant thing, but
yes.
Overlyanimated.com. Find all our Star podcasts there. If you're listening on YouTube, subscribe to us there. If you're listening you can subscribe to our iTunes feed or our Star specific iTunes feed. You can subscribe to us at overlyanimated.com/iTunes. We really appreciate star ratings and reviews on iTunes. We're really trying to push that lately. And consider supporting us at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much to all of our patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, John, aka Garfield. Thank you, John, for all your continued support. You can find the benefits of becoming a patron at patreon.com/overlyanimated, including probably getting this podcast early. So, if you're listening to this after it's come out too late, but there will be others like this that you could get. If it's not time essential, I put them up on the patron Facebook group, early. That's all I got. Good. Yep. Last thoughts, Delaney. Yep.
Good stuff. Can't wait. We'll just have to see until whenever the next time we talk about Star.
Yeah. Also let us know any topic discussions you want to see, because I'm still up for talking about Star in the off season beyond.
We like Star. It's good stuff.
Probably some sort of episode rankings podcast. I probably want to rewatch season 1 at some point. I don't really remember.
Yeah, same. And also we literally did all of the bajillion combinations of ships and Miraculous Ladybug. We are definitely game for any sort of topic.
No, people want a Jarko podcast.
I feel like shipping is one of our things.
Well, that's everyone's thing. So sure. we're just pandering to the people.
Which that's fine. Yeah. That's what podcast.
That's basically that was the entire point of doing those 4 Ladybug podcasts. Yeah. So, but yeah, we got to ramp up for Ladybug soon too. That's gonna be hype. Yeah. Okay. So let us know comments on this, and thank you guys very much for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.